When you picture the Silk Road, you probably imagine a single, sprawling artery of commerce stretching across the vastness of Asia, connecting the Roman West with the Chinese East. But the real story is a lot more complex and, honestly, a lot more interesting. The Silk Road wasn't one road, but a whole network of shifting routes, and some of its most crucial paths are often overlooked. What if I told you that one of the most vital crossroads of ancient trade wasn't just a road, but a kingdom? A kingdom that used its unique position to build a commercial empire, getting rich from the trade flowing between giants, only to be largely overshadowed by them in the history books. This is the story of how a dynasty of Armenian kings became the gatekeepers for a critical branch of the Silk Road, and how their great cities rose and fell with the tides of global trade.
To really get this story, you have to forget the flat maps we're used to. Try to see the world as an ancient traveler did, a landscape of impassable mountains, scorching deserts, and hostile frontiers. Asia wasn't a wide open plain, it was a fortress, and in that fortress there were only a few strategic passages. The Kingdom of Armenia was built around one of them. Positioned in the rugged Armenian highlands, the kingdom was a natural bastion, a mountainous land bridge wedged between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. It sat directly between the Persian world to the south and the vast steppes to the north. More importantly, it formed a key buffer zone between the expanding Roman Republic in the west and the powerful Parthian Empire in the east, for caravans laden with goods like Chinese silk, Indian spices, and Persian gems. The more direct route across Mesopotamia could be a dangerous gamble, plagued by political turmoil and war. The Armenian highlands offered a vital alternative corridor. Its valleys and passes, while challenging, provided a more predictable route that funneled traffic northward, connecting the great empires through a back door. Geography had placed Armenia at the heart of a continental crossroads. All it needed was someone to turn that potential into power.
That's where the Artaxiad dynasty comes in. Following a major Roman victory over the Seleucid Empire's forces around 190 BC, a local nobleman named Artaxias I seized his moment. He declared himself king, establishing a new, powerful kingdom in the Armenian highlands. But Artaxias wasn't just a conqueror, he was a state builder, and he understood that his kingdom's true strength lay not in its armies, but in its geography. To capitalize on this, he founded a new capital around 176 BC, the city of Artashat. The location was a stroke of genius. Built on a series of hills overlooking the Arax River, Artashat was naturally defensible, but its real power was its placement. The city sat at a junction where trade routes from Black Sea ports, Mesopotamia, Persia, and paths towards Central Asia all converged. The ancient Greek historian Strabo described Artashat as a large and beautiful city, even calling it the Armenian Carthage. There's even a legend that the great Carthaginian general Hannibal, while in exile, advised King Artaxias on the city's design. While it's a great story, modern historians find it a bit dubious. True or not, the city was a marvel of planning. Excavations have revealed paved streets, administrative buildings, and workshops. Artaxias hadn't just built a capital, he had engineered a commercial engine, creating the framework to manage, protect, and tax the flow of goods. Artashat was where raw geography was forged into economic power, the anchor of Armenia's trade ambitions.
Under the Artaxiads, Artashat became a cosmopolitan center. It wasn't just a rest stop on a trade route. It was an international marketplace. Picture caravans of camels and mules arriving from the east, their packs filled with goods that had traveled for months across deserts and mountains. Valuable silk that originated in Han China, spices and gems from India. These goods would be unloaded in the markets of Artashat to be traded, taxed and repacked. Some were sold to local merchants, but most were destined for the west. From Artashat, new caravans would form, heading towards the Black Sea to be shipped to the Mediterranean, or trekking overland toward the cities of the Roman Republic. Coming back the other way were typical Roman goods, things like fine glassware, wines and silver coins, all flowing east into Parthian and Asian markets. This wasn't a passive process. The Artaxiad kings actively managed this commerce. They provided military protection for the caravans passing through their lands and maintained the roads. In return, they levied taxes on the trade. This transit commerce was the lifeblood of their kingdom. It funded their armies, built their cities, and gave them the political leverage to navigate a world dominated by superpowers like Rome and Parthia. For a brief golden period, this highland kingdom was an indispensable hinge connecting the two halves of the ancient world. If you're enjoying this journey into the often overlooked corners of ancient history and want to see more stories about the hidden forces that shaped our world, take a moment to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. It tells us you want more deep dives like this, and it helps us bring these lost worlds back to life.
Of course, no golden age lasts forever. The Artaxiad dynasty, which had so brilliantly leveraged its position, eventually fell victim to the very empires it negotiated between. Squeezed between the ambitions of Rome and Parthia, the dynasty's rule effectively ended in a chaotic period around the turn of the 1st century, culminating in its overthrow by 12 AD. Artashat itself was repeatedly destroyed and rebuilt in the wars that followed. But here's the remarkable part of the story. Even though the dynasty fell, the trade didn't stop. Armenia's role as a transit hub was simply too important to disappear. The geography hadn't changed, and the pull of commerce was stronger than any single king or empire. As Artashat's fortunes waned, a new city gradually rose to take its place. Founded in the 4th century AD by King Khosrov III, the center of gravity slowly shifted to Dvin. By the early Middle Ages, Dvin had emerged as the new capital and primary commercial hub of the region, growing into a sprawling metropolis. While population figures for ancient cities are notoriously hard to confirm, some estimates suggest its population may have even exceeded 100,000 people. Dvin was everything Artashat had been, but on an even grander scale. It was a bustling city where Armenian, Persian, Arab, and Byzantine merchants lived and worked side by side. Archaeologists have found evidence of high-quality textiles and pottery produced in the city, which were exported across the known world. For centuries, Dvin was the new heart of this trade network, a testament to the resilience of the Armenian corridor. The city proved that the idea of Armenia as a gateway between East and West had outlasted the dynasty that first created it.
The story doesn't even end there. To see the true long-term legacy of this commercial corridor, we have to jump forward again, to the High Middle Ages. Here we find the visual climax of our story, the magnificent city of Ani. Rising on a dramatic cliff-top plateau on the border of modern-day Turkey and Armenia, Ani became a major commercial hub around the 10th century. Known as the City of 1001 Churches, it grew into a legendary metropolis. While medieval population claims of 100,000 are debated by modern scholars, there's no doubt it was an immense and wealthy city for its time. Ani stood on important northern trade routes, channeling goods between the Byzantine Empire, the Persian world, and the emerging kingdoms of Georgia and Russia. Its immense double walls, its magnificent cathedral, and the ruins of its opulent merchant houses all speak to the incredible wealth that flowed through it. Ani represents the final, powerful flourishing of a tradition that began over 1,000 years earlier with the Artaxiads. From Artashat to Dvin to Ani, the story is one of astonishing resilience. For more than a millennium, one city after another rose within the Armenian highlands to serve the same essential function: to act as the gateway, the filter, and the toll booth for the commerce that connected continents.
The story of the Armenian trade corridor forces us to look at ancient history in a more nuanced way. It shows us that the world was more connected than we often imagine, and that history is not only written by the great empires. Sometimes the most important players are the ones in between. The Kingdom of Armenia was never the largest or the most powerful, but by mastering its unique geography and building states dedicated to commerce, the Artaxiad kings and their successors carved out an essential and fantastically profitable niche for themselves. They became a vital hinge of Eurasian trade, a corridor of commerce so important that its function endured for 1,000 years through different cities and dynasties. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the most important parts of the map are the ones we've overlooked, and the greatest stories belong to the kingdoms whose tales are still waiting to be fully told.